Great to have you in the show tonight. Your reaction to the IRS whistleblower hearing. It's damning evidence they're bringing of major political interference by Biden DOJ appointees to block the criminal probe into Hunter Biden. What did you make of it?
Well, it is very convincing, Liz, absolutely convincing. I think America is watching this very closely. They understand that the Department of Justice was weaponized, that Joe Biden weaponized them by stopping this investigation. Look, these whistleblowers certainly seem to be credible. They're seasoned officers. They're basically putting their entire career on the line by coming forward here. I think they're very believable. Again, the Justice Department was weaponized, and this is unequal application of the law.
So the criminal probe had been going on for 5 years. You know, the whistleblower is basically saying that when Biden came into office, he put political appointees in there immediately, and then they started to move to basically shut down the Hunter Biden criminal probe, bust it down into misdemeanors from felonies in order to protect Joe Biden.
Yeah, it is going to be a very complicated weave as we try to look under every place that we can. I'm so proud of what's happening over in the House. They're doing a great job. Looking forward to getting to the bottom of it.
Let's move on to this. Breaking news coming in about Biden's, it's being called a new big government overreach. You know, his re-election is really threatened by inflation, sticking stubbornly high. You know, it's basically cumulatively 16% since he took office. His polls keep dropping as inflation stays high. But now Biden wants to put 31 state attorneys general, the FTC, DOJ, USDA, even HUD to go after grocery stores and the meat industry over price gouging. How are they going to do that?
Right. Well, Joe Biden owns inflation. On day one, he declared war on American agriculture and energy. Think about what he did the first day. He shut down the Keystone Pipeline, he shut down offshore drilling, and he also repealed President Trump's Water the U.S. ruling. So all those drove up the cost of doing farming for us. Agriculture is so connected to the energy field in the sense that we use a lot of diesel, and additionally, nitrogen-based fertilizers come from natural gas. Then our supply chains were disrupted. He was paying people more to stay at home than to go to work, so our trucking industry was decimated. Still is having a hard time coming back. And then lastly, I just want to talk about his regulatory burden on the American farmer as well. This war of regulations, whether it's using the Endangered Species Act, waters of the U.S., limiting the pesticides that we can use, he's driving up the cost of doing business, and our American consumers are feeling the brunt of that at the market.
You know, Senator, they're talking about giving taxpayer money to small and independent meat and poultry processors to expand or build facilities in farm areas to increase competition, give them a stronger negotiating hand with bigger meat packers. But there's this weird wrinkle, Senator. Roll Call is reporting that White House officials, when they were talking about this new plan with journalists, they told reporters, do not report our names. We can only be identified as, quote, senior administration officials. So, Senator, if it's so great, why didn't they want to be anywhere near it?
Well, I guess it's not green enough, is it? Is that the problem here? Is that they don't like the belching from cattle? Look, you know, I don't know. But certainly we do need more competition, and I think there's some good ways to do that. And we have legislation that would roll back some regulations. The problem that we can't get more meat packers to grow is that the regulatory burden is just too much. So, for instance, our legislation would allow these small meat packers to sell meat across the state line using state inspection. So there's ways out there. Walmart is building their own packing plant there in Kansas now, so the market's going to respond to this. There is some consolidation of industry. It was created by all these rules and regulations by my friends across the aisle.
But what do you make then of this big top-down, big government push by Biden? Will it work?
You know, it typically doesn't. Typically, it backfires in some ways, some shape, typically. So there's lots of problems in the packing industry. Again, we have only 4 packing plants that control 80% of the industry. There does need to be competition, but at the same time, we need some guardrails around that.
Senator Marshall, pleasure having you on. Thanks for joining us.